Hey everybody, this is Brian and Rachel Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and InkNouveau.com. This is the right time at 9. This is our live weekly broadcast that we do. This is the first one we've had in 2 weeks here.
Yep.
But we were off for Thanksgiving and now we came back, and to make up for being gone for a week, we brought in Brian Gray of the Edison Pen Company. So you get two Brians in the same broadcast here. Say, hey, what's up, Brian?
I'm doing real good, actually, and there's two Edison people here. My wife is on the line as well, so she might, well, she's not on the phone, but she is in the chat, and if I forget something, she'll probably chime in, so.
Oh, cool.
She's Mrs. Edison Pen Co.
Well, there you go. That works. Copycats.
I was going to say, where'd she get that idea?
Yeah. That's all right. Well, we don't have, we're not, jam-packed with stuff to talk about tonight. I mean, we've got all kinds of logistical things to talk about.
Sure.
I'll save this for new products and stuff. Yeah, we'll get to all that stuff. That way, we'll kind of let you kind of talk as much as you want, Brian, and then if you need to dip out or if you want to just kind of hang out while we talk over the rest of our stuff towards the end, that's totally cool.
That sounds good.
Okay. Well, I guess we can just dive right in, right, with the pen announcement.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like the only thing that I really put up on the the Right Time Topics
we're talking
post.
About other things, but that's the main event.
Yeah. Well, basically, long story short, for those of you that aren't familiar, Brian Gray and I have been kind of in talks for the last couple of years, and we have kind of a similar background in the terms of the way that we started making our own pens. He, of course, now makes pens that are far beyond what I ever dreamed I was capable of doing, and we've gone more of the retail route in terms of carrying commercial pens, paper, and ink. But we still kind of kept in contact with our different businesses. And as we got into carrying pens, we kind of started collaborating and said, hey, why don't we design, some collaborative pens? And so that's what the Edison Nouveau was originally back. When was it, March or April?
Yeah, it's about March.
Yeah, when we first did our collaboration.
It was probably about a year ago this time when we started discussing it, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then it probably took maybe 2 or 3 months to get off the ground, or, to make, to get to a product, so...
Yeah. And, we kind of threw out some ideas. We came out with a design for our first pen, which was the Premiere with an E on the end. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a play on words to mean kind of the introduction to the collaboration, and also is kind of the launching of the first of what we hoped to be multiple pens with this successful collaboration.
It will be. We've already got another one in the works.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we came out with the Premiere in 3 colors originally. You had the black, satin black, the cappuccino swirl, and the cobalt. Mm-hmm. And the cappuccino has actually been kind of the shining star.
That
and
was my pick.
It was kind of a contest between the 3 of us, because Brian had picked the satin black kind of as his preferred color. I was all about the blue, and Rachel liked the cappuccino.
I actually pulled our numbers this year. The cappuccino has sold as many as the other 2 combined, if not more.
And Brian,
I win.
Yeah, and my horse was dead last, right?
Well, we're within 1 or 2 pens of each other.
Oh,
You
really?
guys are close.
Yeah, yours caught up. Actually, I think technically, in terms of dollars, yours has sold more because people have bought a couple of gold nibs with it or whatever.
Hey, all right. You just make me feel good.
But there you go. So, in any case, Rachel by far has a better taste.
Don't forget to mention that the purple was introduced about, 3 months ago? 4
Not
months ago?
even.
Oh, not even.
September.
It was not that long ago.
Oh wait, we're
It was
almost
a long
in
time ago
December.
now for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keeping things on the timeline, we came out with the 3 colors of the Premiere, and then it wasn't too long after that. It was a couple of months.
It's about June.
That we came out with the limited edition Premiere, which was the blue and the black ebonite swirl, which was a big hit, and we released 50 pens, and it sold out in just over 2 weeks. Which we really didn't expect. We kind of just picked 50 as an arbitrary number. We really didn't know. I mean, we expected it might take us probably 4 months to sell that many pens, but it took a couple of weeks. So we didn't want to extend that limited edition. We wanted to honor.
It be a true limited edition.
Honor the limitedness of it.
It was engraved, 4 out of 50 or 5 out of 50.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We didn't want to change that.
Exactly. And we didn't want to try to just, be money grubbers or anything like that. So we just said, hey, this is a limited thing. Maybe we'll consider something else down the road. Well,
Hence.
here we are down the road, and the idea kind of came up. We said, hey, we're all rocking and rolling. Let's consider another LE pen. It's been about five or 6 months since we came out with the last one. And the Premiere has been a very popular pen style for good reason. It's good design and, really well balanced, and it's been really, really popular. You can see all kinds of reviews and stuff. I mean, we'll obviously tout it pretty well because we kind of helped design the thing, but, there's lots of people out there that have the pens, and it's got a good reputation. So we decided another LE was due. So
I have it on the site. I'll go ahead and post the link right now.
Yeah,
here's the big reveal.
Yeah.
You guys ready to see this pen?
Yeah.
Are we doing a drum roll or anything like that?
I mean, we can.
There it is. Oh, okay. We both put the link up.
Oh, I put the link to the actual product page on our site.
Rachel already set it all up.
Well, everybody, there's 2 links there. One goes to the product website, and one goes to the photo galleries.
And I actually have all those pictures on our site too. So go to our site.
Yeah, either way, it'll be the same photos.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Brian took all those photos.
And for those watching this later, we'll have the link in the blog post or on YouTube or whatever for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's a red and black swirl. We're calling it Cherry Cordial. And it's an ebonite, so same as what we did before. So it's got a real nice feel to it.
Yeah, it's
very Christmassy.
It's a similar ebonite material that we had in the previous LE, but the swirl is different.
It's more dramatic. The color is richer. The blue we were happy with, but we were hoping it would pop a little more. So we're very happy with this one. So.
Yeah, I think that one thing that we did with the blue, and that the blue was definitely interesting and a great material because it's very subtle, and from a distance it doesn't look like a real flashy pen.
Right.
To the point of where we almost had to convince people that, hey, trust me, it's a little more vibrant than what you see in these photos.
Yeah, and
it was very difficult to photograph, so we almost felt bad that we had to not really convince people, but almost sell them on the material because you almost had to see it live.
Yeah.
In this case, this pen definitely has a little bit more panache, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But yet it's also not ostentatious. It's vibrant. It's got that like nice vintage red ripple type color, even though it's not really like a ripple type pattern. It's more of like a random swirl pattern. But we're really happy with how these colors turned out. This is like a top quality German ebonite. There's 2 companies in Germany making good ebonite, and one of them is, in my opinion, head and shoulders above the other, and that's where this comes from. So it's definitely excellent colors, and for those of you that haven't had an ebonite pen before, it's something that you just have to experience. Essentially, it's a hard rubber, or originally it was called vulcanite, and on a macro or microscopic scale, it just has a different feel than what acrylic does. People that own ebonite pens, maybe you can chime in, but it just feels warmer. It feels more organic, I guess, is the way that I would put it. And whether or not on a microscopic scale it has more give or whatever, I don't know. But when you feel an ebonite pen, you know it. It just feels warm, organic. That's the best words,
Yeah.
And one difference with the LE we did before and this one is the one before we did a silver trim and had the all silver steel nib.
Yeah.
This one has gold trim or gold plated, trim and a 2-tone nib.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
still steel nib, but for this one we are offering the 18 karat upgrade.
We are offering the gold nib upgrade if you wanted that.
Which we previously didn't have that as an option.
Right.
With the last LE. But I think it's something. And also, we have extra fine nibs now, which was not an option with the previous LE.
Yep.
Because that's a recent thing that you've brought on, Brian.
Yeah, correct.
The extra fine steel nibs. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited about it. Also, we said how many pens we're making? Because that's different too from last time.
100.
Yeah, we're doing 100 this time.
There were a lot of people who were saving up or were interested, but by the time they got around to it, we had sold out. So, especially given the popularity of the Premiere, the popularity of the LE before, and the fact that it's a Christmas season, we thought, 100 would be a good amount to do. So the pens will be engraved with, 3 of 100, 4 of 100, whatever it is. We can try to honor special requests, but if you're asking for a number that's high, they are going to be made in order So if you're asking for, number 75 or 80 or whatever, it will probably be a couple weeks. We'll do our best to get you everything by Christmas, by the end of the year. But if you're special requesting a high number, first of all, we'll do our best to honor it. But second of all, if it is higher, you may have to wait longer. But if you're ordering the first 20, the first 40, they should go out in the next, Brian's been working on getting them ready. So they should go out pretty soon.
At this point, we have 40 ready to ship right now. We'll be doing more work on them this week and also next week. So if you specifically want a higher number than 40, then you might have to wait. I'd like to think that all 100 would be finished, after the new year, maybe mid-January at the absolute latest. But just understand that it's a real pain to make number 76 out of order from the other 100, 1 through 40. So I'm going to make them completely in order. If you want a higher number, then we'll just have to wait a little bit until it's done.
Yeah, but we are willing to honor that, So if you do have a specific, if you have a specific number that was your jersey number in high school, or I don't know, whatever.
You were born.
Yeah, the year.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, your lucky number or something. We can accommodate that. Yeah. We had one question in here. Texas BSA was asking about how does this pen compare to the Namiki Falcon?
How do Edison nibs
Edison nibs in general? They're really completely different, basically. I actually have writing test videos on the Falcon and the Edison on Ink Nouveau.
The Falcon I would consider a semi-flex. It's got a bit of spring to it.
I won't stick on that too much because they're really different. Pretty different. I mean, the price range is about the same. So I think you start.
If I'm not mistaken, then the Falcon is a gold nib, right?
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 14 karat nib.
Say I've written with a Namiki Falcon before, but it was a long time ago. So don't take my word as scripture. But if that's a semi-flex nib, I would say that my 18K nibs will be in the same ballpark. You can definitely get some decent flex out of it. It's not full flex. It's not, it's not wet noodle. But I don't think that the Namiki is either full flex. I think it's more of a semi-flex nib.
Well,
if you like the Namiki Falcon and you want something that writes comparable, you might need to get into an 18K nib from me. Modern German number 6 steel nibs are just not made to flex, bottom line.
Yeah. And actually, this is an interesting thing that I haven't even talked about yet. A good friend of mine who just got his Noodler's Ahab pen found that he can actually fit your number 6 Edison nib in the Ahab pen.
Not the feed, just the nib. If you take it apart.
You can replace the flex nib with an Edison nib. I guess, any number 6 nib would do, but he sent me a picture through Twitter, of his Ahab with an Edison engraved nib on it. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. I hadn't messed around with that. I was just sitting here going like, oh my gosh, So I thought that was interesting. But
that's it. He's asking for a lawsuit.
Oh, I need to plug in, Rachel. I'm about to die.
Okay.
I just realized my battery's about to die on my computer. I am sucking up quite a bit of juice here.
Yeah, the steel Edison nibs are very smooth. You're not going to have that flex. If you do the 18 karat, you will have a little bit more. But, and again, we're always hesitant to use the word flex because people think wet noodle sort of thing. But I'd say more of spring.
Spring, that's the word that I like to use. That's a safer word to use in my opinion. So...
Actually, I do have plans to do a complete video blog on my website sometime, hopefully before the end of the year, that will illustrate exactly what to expect from a standard steel nib, and obviously there's very little flex there, an 18K nib, which will give you some flex, and then a 14K nib that I completely alter for full flex and kind of show a video example of all three and the differences.
That's wonderful.
I just got to, find some spare time to get it done.
I would love to see that, yeah.
Yeah. So the 18K nib option is available. If somebody really wanted to do full flex with this, we could certainly discuss whether or not that's within the limits of whether or not that's within the bounds of a limited edition. But just speaking off the cuff, I think that if we're going to allow steel and gold, I have no problem with offering 14K full flex. But of course, there is a charge for me to do that full flex treatment.
I was going to say, I don't have any problem. I think we limited it last time. I don't have any problem with custom grinds with this batch.
If you're really
into
full
italic,
flex,
if you want,
again, I wouldn't say vintage wet noodle, but full flex on a modern scale, that can certainly be done with 14K nibs on my pens, including this LE that we're announcing tonight.
Yeah, and for anybody not familiar, the arrangement that we have as far as custom grinds. I mean, obviously Brian has done a lot of nib work along with his pen making. He doesn't do nib grinds for other companies. He just basically does nib grinds for his Edison pens. So if you are interested in this pen or any of the other Edisons, you get the pen through us, and then the grind goes through Brian directly. That way we don't have to get in the middle of the grind and just add in extra charges for basically no reason. Mm-hmm. You work with him directly because you're going to be talking with him about how you want it ground and everything anyway. So anything italics, flex, like with this 14K nib, it used to be grinding to an extra fine was a thing, but now you've got an extra fine. If somebody wants a double extra fine, maybe. I don't know how fine you can go with your nibs, Brian.
I can go, all the way to a needle point. Just basically as fine as I can possibly get. But just people should understand that when you're grinding something to a triple extra fine or a needle point or as fine as I can get, don't expect that to be buttery smooth. That's like asking a needle not to stick you. Once
Right.
you get that fine, it's very difficult to be buttery smooth with it.
Right. I think anybody that wants that fine usually knows kind of what to expect.
Well, and not only that, I'll be honest, though, there are guys that can do it. I'll be the first to admit that my skills for grinding an extra fine aren't quite the same as Mike Masuyama or Richard Binder. So if somebody comes to me and says, I'd like a triple extra fine, I usually have the discussion with them that if you don't mind tooth, a little bit of tooth, I'll do it for you. If you want buttery smooth, you probably ought to go to one of those guys.
Yeah.
At least in the nib grinding. And I know that I'd probably recommend Mike Masuyama. He used to, if you guys aren't familiar, MikeAtWork.com. And he's a nib technician or nib meister or whatever the term is. And he used to be employed with Sailor when he lived in Japan. And now he's in the U.S. doing nothing but nib grinding. And he does phenomenal extra fines. He's actually taught me a few things, but I'm still not quite to the point of where I feel like I can make a buttery smooth triple extra fine. So I'll always be honest with people and say, hey, you know what? I can do it, but you're going to get some tooth.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So if you have any special requests about custom grinds and stuff, just ask.
Yeah, you can put in the order comments, or if you want a price first, we can certainly help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But generally, I can give you a rundown now. Generally, any italic grind is going to be $40. An extra fine will be $50, and then full flex any type of flex alteration would be $65.
Well, an extra fine that would only be for the gold nib because you offer the steel nib option now.
Well, you know what? That's true. So I guess what I should say is, instead of saying extra fine, what I should say is grinding to a smaller tip from whatever exists. That's what I should say is 50.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, anyone have any questions on the LE or Edison's or anything else?
Or how did the Ohio Pen show go? I mean, you just finished up that not too long ago.
Yeah, very, very good, actually. If you guys, anyone that saw my blog right before the Ohio Pen Show, we really busted our butts. For those that don't know, my wife works out in the shop full-time, and we do have an employee that works with us as well. And so we really got tons of inventory done for the Ohio show, and we showed up with a little bit more than 200 pens and sold a bunch there, and we're learning that having more inventory is a great thing for a pen show. But also, once we got home, everybody's like, hey, where are the photos of all those new pens? And so we had a lot of current inventory that was gobbled up once we got back from the show, too. So, yeah, it was definitely an excellent show. Yep.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know originally we were planning on going to that show basically just to kind of hang out and meet you guys again and see your shop and everything.
But I'm not much for traveling these days.
As many of you know out there, Rachel is less than 3 weeks now.
No,
3 weeks.
From this
morning. Three Wednesdays from now in the morning, she's scheduled to deliver our little girl.
That's cool.
So our life will be turned upside down.
3 weeks or less. She could come early.
She could come early. We never know. Joseph was
not. He was early.
He was 8 days early?
Mm-hmm.
And usually the first is not early. So who knows?
We'll see.
The second
I was going to say, you could make the Ohio show next year, but then you've got a 9-month-old to tote along. So
a 9-month-old and a 3-year-old. Almost 3-year-old.
An almost 1-year-old and an almost 3-year-old.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't know how we'd fit all that stuff in our car, just like
2 car seats and all that.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a new change, quite an exciting venture for us.
Yeah.
But we're gonna enjoy it and take it as it
and
comes.
there's us in the chat. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm definitely slowing down, definitely getting ready. Starting to nest a little bit, but feeling pretty good.
Yeah. We're kind of freaked out a little bit just because the reality of what's going to happen is kind of setting in. And unlike with Joseph, we didn't really know what to expect in terms of sleep depravity.
And business wasn't as busy as it is now.
But now we know, and we're like, oh,
double-edged sword. Knowing is...
lots of highs, but lots of lows, too. So it'll be interesting. And we're like, gosh, we're going to have a baby, and we'll still have Joseph running around.
Who
and
still doesn't really understand what's going on.
Dribbling milk all down himself and sticking his hands down his diaper and, all that fun stuff that comes with a 2-year-old. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But, if that's one thing I kind of wanted to address is like, you've probably noticed in the last week and a half or so. Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll get into that. I don't want Brian Gray to be hanging out on the phone while we go off on tangents here.
Oh, well, he knows what to expect now.
This is par for the course. I'm totally cool with this.
Yeah, exactly. He set up his whole evening for us. Come on. I'm just kidding.
No, we've other I don't want to. I want to make sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to make sure we take advantage of his time and attention while he's here. And if you guys have any questions, again on the LE. On Edison pens, we did mention we're working on a new Edison Nouveau. We're looking at releasing that sometime shortly after the new year. So look for that. It won't be by Christmas, but sometime January or later. And yes, the new LE Edison Nouveau Premiere is available for sale now. I just put it up on the site. So, go ahead and place your order. If you have special number requests, please let us know. We'll
if you want. It looks like there's some new people that showed up. Do you want to put that link up again?
I'll put it up again, yeah.
Just put it up every 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Difference between the Edison Nouveau and the Collier. Well, the Edison Nouveau Premiere and the Collier. Well, the Premiere is exclusive to us, so that's first of all one difference. The Collier does not post. The Premiere does. The Premiere has I'd say it's a little thinner and much more tapered.
Yeah, it's definitely thinner.
The Collier is a little bit fatter.
A little meatier. Yeah.
Meatier.
Yeah.
Weight-wise, it's not too drastic.
The materials, the colors are different.
Yeah, I think that the Premiere is maybe a touch longer. Definitely skinnier. The section is a lot skinnier. The barrel's a lot skinnier, the cap. And then the Collier, a little shorter, like a standard-sized section. And then the barrel has a little bit of a flare to it. If you look at the photos, I think you can pretty accurately get an idea for the scale of the two against each other. But the biggest difference that you're going to feel in your hand is the diameter. The Premiere is significantly thinner.
And I think the posting, some people, if that's important to you, the Collier doesn't post, the Premiere does.
Yeah.
Correct.
And again, the materials are different. So, if you like one color over
Which
another.
the materials for the Collier are pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They're all kind of translucent, and you can see kind of see through them. I like the antique marble is probably actually my favorite. The silver marble is pretty good too.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of preference.
Yeah.
Could you use the Premiere as a tactical pen? You've not the pleasure of touching one, but that point seems like it could back a bit of a wallop. Oh,
I think a tactical pen is a pen that doubles as a weapon.
It's not that pointy.
No, I would not suggest that.
I would trust our son to, no, I wouldn't trust him to hold it, but I would trust him not to, I wouldn't trust him not to injure himself with it. Never mind. I don't trust him with any sort of pen.
He can injure himself just by walking.
Point just right. I'll bet you it'd work perfectly.
This week he figured out how to open the Sharpie marker, so I'm like, great.
Yeah.
He also took a crayon to the wall and
Oh, great.
But anyway.
Wonderful.
No, I don't think it's.
He also opened up the lid of his wipes and was pulling them out like magician style today.
Anyway, no, it's not that pointy. It's definitely tapered, but it's not sharp.
Yeah. I think they were kind of joking with the whole weapon aspect.
Sorry,
of it.
I'm at the point now where you have to be very explicit whether you're kidding with me or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for me. Actually, Brian was nice enough to send us like a whole box, basically with every model of pen, with every model of Edison pen that he carries. Because honestly, we get asked a lot, how does the Collier compare to the Huron or
the Herald
to the Pearl,
versus
or
the Premiere, whatever.
Yeah, and even though we've seen all these pens, at the DC show with Brian before, I don't know from memory of holding a pen, months ago, how it compares to one that we have. So he was nice enough to send me, kind of a sample of everything. And I plan to somehow do pictures and shoot a video and kind of, play with all the different pens and see how they all kind of compare to each other. Because, your Glenmont and Huron and Pearl and all that are pretty well known because you've been making those for kind of a while. And your production pens are relatively new to the scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, literally the production pens, which, less expensive, but they're not customizable. Well, I take it back. They are customizable. If you wanted a Collier or a Edison Nouveau Premiere or a Hudson made custom, then you can still go to me and get that done. But what we did is, because I'm limiting this to 3 materials and no customizations, literally we can do probably 10 pens, if not more, in the same time. I'm sorry, we can do 10 pens, if not more, in a production setting. Then, in about the same time as what I can do 2 custom pens. I have to reset the machinery for every part when I'm doing custom pens, as opposed to making 12 finials, 12 caps, 12 barrels, 12 sections. That's much faster than if I have to, really get everything reset for a custom pen. So it's basically just an economy of scale. Knowing that I can offer something that's a lower price, no customizations, and they move faster, then of course we can do them on a wholesale basis and get the retail price a lot lower as well. So there's no difference in quality between the production line and what's called my signature line or custom line. It's just that because there's no customizations involved, we can just dedicate an assembly line type situation to it, or a production line.
Yeah, which is why you're able to make them more affordably.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's the same quality as any custom pen that you would get.
Yeah, there won't be any difference in the quality between the two. It's just the lack of ability to select. But if you like the Premiere, if you like the Hudson, if you like the Collier, and you want it in some custom material, then just give us a ring and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, there you go.
And I know that if you guys don't mind, I haven't been on a Right Time broadcast for a while. I certainly wouldn't dominate this, but if anybody has questions about Edison in general,
absolutely.
I'm sure you guys don't mind if I open that up.
Nah, have at it. You're pretty much the
I mean,
we got some timeline stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
but
people ask about out of stock stuff or new products coming in. But
we basically left a lot of the broadcast open for you.
We can save 10 minutes for that at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's any questions about Edison in general or how things work with my pen company, I certainly won't dominate the evening trying to promote myself. But if anyone has questions about how things work with production line versus the signature custom line, I'd be more than happy to address that. Or if there's any questions in general, nib adjustment, nib tuning, anything, you guys have me here tonight. So if there's anything that you feel that I could address question-wise, that maybe my background being a little different from the Goulets would help out, just let me know what the questions might be.
Yeah,
well,
we got a good question here. Texas BSA asked, said if we want a pen from Goulets but want a custom grind, purchase a pen from Goulets, ship it to Brian Gray, and then does he grind and ship it to the customer? Actually, because Brian's making these pens, what we would do in that situation is just...
He would ship it directly to you.
Yeah, he obviously makes the pens, so he's got them right there. He would grind it right then, and you might have probably a day or two wait?
Yeah,
depending on your backlog.
That I can offer that a lot of the nib meisters can't, is that my turnaround time is really fast. So... the Goulets and the Grays have a great relationship, so there's no sense in me sending a bunch of inventory to those guys when I can just ship it direct. Mm-hmm. So any pen that you buy that's an Edison coming from the Goulets, I'll ship direct to you, and you'll get tracking information from me. Yep. Now, if you want a custom grind on that, then you just put some notes in the comments, or you send me an email. Either way, usually Rachel or Brian says, hey, this guy wants a custom grind, and then I'll contact you directly to get all the specifics on that custom grind. And then literally, one thing that I can offer you is that the nib is going to be ground the same day that your pen ships. So, if I get the request tonight, you'll get your custom ground nib on your Edison pen tomorrow in the mail. There's not going to be a 4-month wait to get a custom nib done.
That's pretty rocking.
Yeah, it saves us the hassle of us shipping a pen to you and you shipping it to him for a custom grind, or us shipping back and forth, because that all adds to cost, and why. Why
the only exception
is
that sometimes, now we've eliminated this, but sometimes if there's an international order, sometimes there might be juggling with shipping.
Yeah.
But the Goulets do have an inventory of my pens just for international orders, so that there's no waiting on that. So even that
we're working on that. Yeah.
That's kind of a recent change we've done to try to accommodate, because
sometimes it takes a while, especially over weekends or things like that.
Yeah, it gets further complicated with international, because whenever you ship an international package, the shipping is pretty usually expensive, and it's expensive on our end, and we kind of have to pass it on. But when you're dealing with a pen coming from Brian Gray and other stuff that you probably want that we've got to get both of them in the same place to be able to ship them economically. So usually there's a little more lag time with an international, especially if you're dealing with something like a custom grind. That's got to come from Brian.
Yeah, it's usually, I'd say like a week is about the standard lag time till we can ship it out. But, if you're ordering...
Of course, we'd be communicating that the whole way anyway, so nobody would be caught off guard.
Right.
Another question, if you were to order a Cobalt Premiere with an engraving request, could this be done easily? Is there a typical pricing for engraving?
It depends on what you want done. I mean, like, one of the most typical customizations that I do is just to put your initials right under the clip. I think that's a real nice, classy and subtle touch. If you're literally wanting to put, like, images on the pen and get really complicated, then talk to me individually, because there's some things that are possible and some things that are not. And also keep in mind that in the whole style of the production thing, production versus custom, if you really get into something that is highly, highly customized with some type of wild engraving, we could be talking about a completely custom pen in that scale. But if you want your initials on it, geez, I don't know, $10, maybe $5, at least that's what I would anticipate.
And that we just deal directly through you.
And
we wouldn't get in the middle of that.
Engraved with the name of the pen and everything. Like all the pens are already engraved with the Edison name.
Yeah, the Edison Nouveau Premiere is already engraved on every pen, and then the Edison logo is also engraved on every nib. If you wanted your initial someplace on the pen, it would probably be maximum $10.
So
fair enough.
There you go.
Yeah, or if you wanted, sometimes people say like happy anniversary or congratulations on whatever. We can always do that and figure it out. But if you want something complex that's literally like an image, then just talk to me individually, because that would be a lot more involved. And some things just aren't possible that people would like to try.
Yeah. Rory has a good question. So you can get custom grind on, say, a Hudson as well. Yeah, Rory, you can get, this custom grind that we're talking about is for any of the Edisons that we carry. So the Hudson, the Collier, the Premiere,
Premiere LE.
Premiere LE. Yeah. This same situation would work for any of those pens. Brian would do the grinds, the same way for any of those.
Yeah.
Other question.
You know what? It's funny. We haven't done hardly any custom grinds on these production pens for a long time. I think it's just because we haven't discussed it for a long time. So maybe I'll get a lot of custom grind requests here after this broadcast.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Well, that, and now you got the extra fine nibs, so
absolutely.
That was one of the most popular custom grind requests.
That's true.
Well, and it's really nice to have that stock because it's done at the factory. I mean, literally, you're saving $50, because otherwise I have to grind it. Now, I don't have them in the 18K version yet, but I think they'll be available to me in January, February. When I can put together an order to get them inventoried, I don't know. You guys can imagine how expensive the price of gold is. Keeping a good inventory is kind of difficult.
Totally understand.
I can't promise when extra fine 18K will happen, but it probably will next year sometime.
Well, especially when the price of gold is going up and the euro is doing all kinds of crazy things. Yeah. I can imagine that is a little complicated to organize all
There's
that.
There's a couple questions that have come up. I'll skip to the second question because we're talking about it. I've only got one gold nib, so I haven't had the opportunity to compare with steel. Could you give a quick walkthrough of the difference between steel, 14K, and 18K nibs?
I'll do two things, actually. I wrote an article that's on my website, and I'll give a link to this article, but I'll probably do it after I discuss it, because I'm afraid that everybody's going to, head off and start reading, and I can kind of summarize it. My advice when it comes to steel versus gold is always try steel first, okay? The price of gold, I mean, obviously you guys see what the cost is between a steel nibs pen and a gold nibs pen. It's $125. Trust me, that's all the nib. The price of gold is so ridiculous right now and it has been for a long time, that, the nib manufacturers and the pen manufacturers and the retailers, we all have to consider what the price needs to be, because they come to us so expensive. So based on that, most people are really surprised at how the Edison steel nibs perform. They're always going to be nice and smooth. They're always going to have a nice flow to them. A custom grind, obviously, that's going to come out of the box exactly the way that you want, because I'll take care of it. But what it won't do is flex. So if you absolutely have to have a flexible nib, then you need to go to gold. But you need to weigh whether or not that's really worth $125 to you. What I usually do with my custom orders is, when people call me up and say, hey, I can't decide whether I should put a steel nibs pen on this or a gold nib on this, I say try steel. You'll be impressed, and if you don't like it, then I'll apply the cost of that nib towards your gold upgrade, and we can upgrade in the future. One thing about every pen that I construct is that the nibs unscrew. Yep. So if you want, you could buy, one of these pens with a fine, medium, and a broad, and you could throw in an 18K if you want. You know what I mean? So my point is that, similar to Pelicans and old Esterbrookes, the nibs unscrew, and you can interchange all that you want to. But if you need flex, then the only way to get it, really, in a modern nib is with gold. So I recommend that people try steel first. If you don't like it, then, look me up. But I can tell you right now, when people have this dilemma and they call me up and they follow my advice, I would say that 95% stick with their steel nib, and they say, my gosh, I didn't know that a steel nib could write this way.
Yeah.
All too often, steel gets a bad reputation, and I don't think that it's deserved. The article that I'll put up right now, I'm going to put the link up right now. You can guess by the title of this. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I copy and pasted the wrong thing. I just pasted the thing to my gallery. Okay, hang on. Okay, so here is the article, and by the title, you can guess what my feelings are. It's in praise of steel nibs. So, try out, and really, this applies to the production line too. If you try out my steel nib and you really don't like it, and you rather go with gold, then call me and I'll deal with it on an individual basis, and you can send me the nib and I'll exchange and probably give you a credit towards a steel or towards a gold nib. It's the safest way to go, and 95% of my customers who follow this steel versus gold advice, they stick with that steel nib, and they're usually pretty surprised at how well it writes.
And I'll be honest,
I say always give it a shot, unless you are, you definitely know. I've already tried Brian's steel nibs. I know how these other steel nibs work, and I definitely need gold. Then of course go with the gold nib. I mean, trust me, I love selling gold nibs. I have no problem with it, but I can't in good conscience recommend it to everybody. That added flexibility is not always a $125 issue. Now, for some people it is, of course, and that's why gold nibs still sell.
Right.
And I have a fine steel in my cappuccino Premiere, and it is. I normally hate fine nibs, but I love it. It's my favorite fine that I have.
Yeah.
Because it's just so smooth. Normally the fines are just too. The flow isn't good, or they're scratchy. And this, I still get good ink flow out of it. I still get shading. I still, it's. I like my ink.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of factors that play into this, and I touch on this in the article. Why does steel get a bad reputation sometime? Well, there are crappy steel nibs out there. There's nibs that are made in Taiwan, China, and India that are awful, and they truly, when I see these nibs, the tines are almost always misaligned. The slit might not be exactly tapering down to a point. And then if I ever grind one, you can tell that, oh my gosh, I don't even think, this is like third-rate tipping material, whatever it is, because the grinding really doesn't even work that well. So, a lot of people have seen these steel nibs that come from Asia, India, and and they just immediately feel that every steel nib is going to be like this, and you get what you pay for. Well, that's not always the case, because the good quality nibs that come from Jovo and Bach, they're phenomenal. They really are. And I also think that generally people, think about it this way. Any pen out there that generally retails for $250, $200 or more is almost always going to have a gold nib on it. So I think that people sometimes equate expense with quality, and that's not always going to be the case. I mean, think about a $8,000 David Oscarson pen. Well, that pen has the same Bach nib as what a Conklin that you could get for $150 has. I mean, they're getting their nibs from the exact. I mean, I'm talking about older Conklins before they made that change like 2 or 3 years ago. There's really, so saying that a more expensive pen is always going to have a better nib, that doesn't hold much water for me. And like I said, it almost sounds counterintuitive, because you would think that from my standpoint, I would be better off selling a bunch of gold nibs, but I really don't. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in selling good pens to people.
Yeah.
So you can tell that I lean people towards trying steel first. If you don't like it, then let's talk about an upgrade.
We've had a lot of questions. I'm scrolling back up in the chat to try to capture them all, so I'll go back.
Okay.
And some of them are all over the place, so sorry about that. What do you consider the best filler system of your Edison pens?
Oh, good question. And there's probably going to be some new ones coming soon, but you didn't hear that from me. I mean, the most probably flexible and economical is a cartridge converter, and don't forget cartridge converter / eyedropper.
Right.
So all these pens that are in my production line, one thing that I make a point to do, well, there's about 2 or 3 things that I do with these pens, is that I engineer the pitch of the section threads to be a pretty fine pitch, and I also make those section threads awfully precise. I mean, literally, my tools need to be tuned down to 1/10 of a thousandth of an inch before I'm ready to cut threads. Now, what this does is it gives me the ability to make these pens convert to eyedropper very easily. So in the production line and my custom line, the cartridge converter pens are you've got cartridge converter, so if you just want the no hassle of using a piston converter or a cartridge, you've got it. But if you want to convert that to an eyedropper because you want monstrous ink capacity, you can't get any bigger ink capacity than an eyedropper, because the barrel is the reservoir,
Exactly.
So that's the most flexible and also the most economical. The other that I can do, although this would not be a production pen, this would be custom and direct for me, is a bulb filler. And if anyone's not familiar, you can visit my website or go to my galleries and just look for bulb fillers. Essentially, you unscrew a little blind cap on the back, and then there's a bulb on the back of it, and then in order to fill the pen, you squeeze that bulb. There's a breather too that the ink comes up, and many of the bulb fillers have an ink window, so you can see the ink sloshing around in there. It's really cool, and it holds about, I would say probably 6 times more capacity than what a cartridge converter does. Not as big as an eyedropper. It's also a lot more labor, though, so they start at $350. There's a lot of labor involved with engineering the whole filling system and the ink window and all that. So it's got a really, really neat, cool factor to it. You can see the pen fill, you can see the ink slosh in there. It's really neat. It has a larger ink capacity, but it also comes with a price too. It's a lot more work to make those.
Yeah.
I'll keep reading down the questions.
Okay.
Will italic nibs be available as standard?
No, not on this production line. I do have, if you're talking custom, I do have small number 5 nibs that go on the Mina, and those come as 1.5, 1.9, and 2.3 millimeter italics stock. But those nibs won't fit on the larger pens. So Goulet offerings, no, there's no stock italics. Custom from Edison, there are some options. Just contact me if you want to, learn more about that.
Someone else asked if all the steel nibs come from Bach, and your lovely wife answered in the chat that no, that they're Jovo.
Yeah, I early on in my pen making endeavors, one of the biggest obstacles as a pen maker that you face is finding nibs, gold nibs, and thank goodness early on Howard Levy with the Bexley Pen Company, very, very nice guy, said, "Hey Brian, I'll sell you nibs, and you can kickstart your little business with this." And very, very kind, because you can imagine that until you get some capital, until you get some cash under your belt, the minimums for gold nibs are really, really high. So it's not just like anybody can get to the pen business without a real serious investment in nibs. So that was really nice. So anyways, I'm kind of digressing here. Early on, I looked into Bach, I looked into Jovo, and I had experience with both, and my personal preference was Jovo. Essentially, I'm not going to make an argument that Jovo is better, because I don't want to seem like I'm just tooting my own horn. They work with independent pen makers a lot better. They've got options for engraved nibs. I could argue that they're better, but I'm just going to say they're the same as Bach. And if you take a look, I think that in the last 2 or 3 years, you'll see Jovo all over the forums a lot more. And it's just, the bottom line is I looked at both, I worked with both, I'm familiar with both, and I went with Jovo. I mean, you can imagine that everything being equal, especially price-wise, I'm going to put the best nib on my company's pen, and that's what I chose.
Yeah.
And then the last question I saw, what nib size do you order for a 0.5, is that cursive italic? Cursive italic grind.
You would go with a fine. A fine, I can break this down for you. When you grind a fine to an italic, you'll get a 0.7. When you do a medium, you get 0.9. And you do a broad, you get 1.1. So you would order a fine from me, and I would bring the corners down a little bit more to take it from 0.7 to 0.5.
There you go.
But I will make a comment on this. If you do like that 0.5 millimeter nib, remember that's a pretty narrow italic. So you definitely need to have that on the crisper side of cursive italic. In other words, the side stroke needs to be pretty crisp. I wouldn't guarantee that nib would be totally smooth unless you wanted to sacrifice line variation. When you've got a 0.5 millimeter italic nib and it's not crisp, there will be hardly any difference between your downstroke and your side stroke, because the downstroke already is super, super narrow. So just be aware that I'd probably have a conversation with you that, hey, I hope you don't want this to be super, super smooth, because it won't if you want line variation.
Brian, we got another question here for you following another passion of yours. From the Hoyts, what program do you use to edit your HDR pictures?
Oh, hey, someone's following my photography blog or my photography? Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's my sister and her husband. That's the new name.
Rachel's sisters got married a month ago.
You know what? I wasn't putting Rebecca and Hoyt together, since that's a new combination here recently.
I'm pretty sure. I've never seen you use this screen name before.
There could be other Hoyts that are into
okay,
this.
now they're saying I'm dumb, so now I know it's my sister.
Rebecca's asking me photography advice? Come on.
My sister's, for those of you who don't know, my sister is a professional wedding photographer, and the fact that she just called me dumb proves that that's my sister. Because I don't think any random person would be calling me dumb.
She wasn't like your mom and logged in and was like, guess who this is? You know?
I
And you
know.
were like,
She's so
oh, what creepster? I don't know.
No, my sister just got married a month ago, so her new name is Rebecca Hoyt. And she's a photographer, so she introduced us to photography. Brian Gray, we've been going back and forth, so that's why we're amused by all this.
So Rebecca,
anyway.
I've got a Canon T2i. I usually do anywhere from 3 up to 9 exposures, but I rarely need 9 exposures. I put those through Photomatics, and then I can't afford full-blown Photoshop, so I use Photoshop Elements after that, with Topaz denoise and also some Topaz adjust in there. Sorry, everybody, I'm speaking a totally different language than pens, but that's kind of my post-processing there. And then, Rebecca, I'm a huge fan of Trey Ratcliffe. If you haven't been to stuckincustoms.com, he's an amazing HDR photographer, does amazing work. He has a free tutorial that got me started, and then I just recently bought his full course. It's only like $100 for 9 hours of one of his webinars. And I've learned so much. Like, my HDR photos are pretty decent right now, but now I'm learning what's really wrong with them. So, anyway, sorry everybody, I got off onto a photo tangent.
I was like, I don't speak photo. What are you talking about? Anyway, we'll let you guys have that conversation offline.
Okay, but Rebecca, you got to promise me if I'm going to help you with HDR, you got to help me with portraits, okay? I'm sure she'll agree, right?
It's like, Becca, you did HDR in
weddings.
school. What are you talking about?
Weddings, Brian. You got a little experience there with weddings.
You know, actually, I did go and shoot a wedding once, and I won't get into the whole details. I did shoot a wedding once, and Rebecca, I got to respect what you do, because by the end of the night, I was so damn exhausted. There's no way that I could, I mean, oh my gosh, we only spent like 5, 6, 7 hours there. And I can only imagine, like, if the bride wanted me there at 1 o'clock and then the party went until 1 a.m. and you got a 12-hour shoot and then, 500 photos to go through and process, if not 800 or even 900? But anyways.
She does thousands.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't think that I have what it takes to do weddings after doing my one. And I don't think I'll do another one.
Yeah. She said try 5,000.
Oh, my gosh. Can't even imagine.
Well, she says, well, your pens are amazing, so.
Yeah, Brian, most people would look at the pens that you make and wonder how in the heck you do that, so.
Everyone's got their own special talent and ability.
The funny thing is now I'm thinking, I think I took 500 shots for that wedding, so I took way too few. I should be taking 5,000.
There you go.
Anyway,
yeah, sorry everybody for that wild tangent we went on there. It's not often we get all three of us in the same chat room there.
Will Brian ever make a lever filler?
A lever filler is not out of the question. I had a source for. Now here's the problem. The problem is lever mechanisms. Obviously nobody manufactures them, so they have to be custom cast or custom manufactured. And, if I had them manufactured from like a stamp or a press or something like that, then we're talking about minimums of 30 to 50,000. And that's not something that I can do right now. I could have them cast, and I had a guy getting prototypes for me, and it all just fell through. Without getting into too many details, the whole thing just turned out to be an unreliable situation, too many variables and too much going on.
Yeah.
At this point, no lever fillers in the foreseeable future. If I can find a lever mechanism that I like and that I feel that I could trust in my designs, then I would definitely do it. But on a side tangent, instead of lever fillers, how would you feel about a good Edison piston filler? Because that's probably going to happen in the next 3 or 4 months, but you didn't hear that from me.
Someone's asking about a button filler.
Button fillers, I've also considered that. That's actually a little bit easier to source than levers, because really all that I need is a pressure bar and a button. And at one point I got really hot on a button filler, but then I realized that the same thing, I need to source out these buttons, and like I have about 200 or 300 old Parker buttons that I can put in my tumbler and put a new finish on them, and they'll be brand new. But what do I do when I run out of, when I sell 200 or 300 pens, I have no more buttons. What am I going to do? So I also, same thing, you go to a manufacturer and you say, I want this prototyped, I want this made. Okay, but you got to get literally 40,000 of them. So, even when they're only 30 cents a piece, do the math. It's a huge investment.
Yeah.
So the button fillers, maybe I would do that as like a limited edition custom pen, and then once they're gone, they're gone.
That's what everyone's saying.
I'm going to be focusing on a piston first. I'll put it to you this way: the piston will happen, the button's a possibility, and the lever is not a possibility until I find a reliable source.
Yeah. What about using the button for an LE pen?
Exactly. Precisely. That's what I kind of alluded to that at the end there. Maybe that's a great idea, because like I said, I have 200 or 300 of those. Maybe we do a limited edition button filler, get some pressure bars. And
how about a
100 or 200? Yeah, we could certainly talk about it.
Just kidding.
Rachel's trying to lock you down on the exclusive. How about a Goulet
exclusive?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Everybody email Brian Gray right now saying that you want a button filler exclusively from. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You know what I've thought about, and no one's allowed to steal this idea, is a lot of people are not aware of what's called a matchstick filler. Imagine a lever filler with a pressure bar inside, the same pressure bar, but there's no lever, okay? And in vintage pen era, you would there's a small hole, and you would take a matchstick and press inside the hole to push down the pressure bar. Got it?
Okay.
I was thinking about a matchstick filler just like that, but instead of just taking a household match or a toothpick or whatever, you would unscrew a blind cap, and the blind cap would have like a solid sterling silver rod. And that rod would be what would push the the pressure bar. You just take it off and push it to fill it. I thought about that.
Interesting.
I'd have to
That'd be
see
cool.
it. I can't.
I know what you're talking about. That's interesting.
So you would remove a blind cap, and inside the blind cap would be a sterling silver rod, and that rod would push into the barrel of the cap to activate the pressure bar. If this makes no sense, don't worry about it. It might not even happen anyways.
Now, what kind of a filling volume can you get on that type of filling mechanism?
Whatever the sack will hold.
Okay.
Larger than a cartridge converter, probably double a cartridge converter. I would guess 1 milliliter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad. Okay, cool. All right, so now you've committed to everybody that you're going to design this.
Fillers. Yeah, exactly. The coin fillers used a coin. Matchstick fillers used a match, or a matchstick, I should say.
There you go.
Interesting.
All right, so we'll be looking for that to come out in maybe February.
I'll get right on it.
Joking.
If you want, we can certainly. I think that Rachel alluded to this earlier, but people can probably start. I mean, obviously, everybody I think is really happy with the Edison Nouveau Premiere. Maybe January, February, everybody can start thinking about a second Edison Nouveau pen. And I won't spill much, but the Goulets and I are already prototyping this. I'm actually looking at the prototype right now, and it's a real cool looking pen.
We're really excited. I've alluded before, it'll be a little shorter, a little smaller than the Premiere, and it won't have the tapered end. You know, so some differences to differentiate it from the Premiere.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different from the Premiere.
But it's going to have a lot of the same feel, a lot of the same things that people really like about it.
We don't think we're being stingy with information. The truth is,
it's still in prototype
I'm not even
phase.
sure if what I'm looking at right now will be the pen, so it's kind of futile to even try and give details. So
yeah, we're really excited though. Some cool ideas and you know, so stay tuned. And I have some name ideas too. We got to discuss the name.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I was thinking about that too.
I have some ideas.
That's your guys' job to come up with a name. I hate coming up with names for a pen.
No, I have some good ones. We'll talk later.
Yeah, if we let you choose, it would be something with an H, probably.
The Herald, the Hudson.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And when you describe it, make sure you say it's fantastic.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's great.
Well, it's 10 o'clock, so I don't want to spend too much because I still want to get to some of those other little just loose ends that.
Yeah, we got a lot of
taking up plenty of time, so if you guys want to do some Goulet stuff, thanks for having me in and letting me promote our little line here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. We love collaborating with you. You do awesome work, and this is like a real dream team collaboration between you and us, and we love being a part of it. We get emails all the time, people loving their Edisons.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more.
That's great. So, Brian, you can stick on the line if you want. You're more than welcome to pipe in if if there's any questions, we can answer them right away, or anything like that. If you've got the time, you can stick around on the phone here while we address some more logistical.
I'll stick around, as a matter of fact. So, if I have any pertinent comments to make, I'll pipe right in. Okay.
Okay, or non-pertinent. You can always try and trip us up on a tangent or something. But
we can always mute you.
But we do have some logistical stuff to get through, especially because we didn't do the broadcast last week. Anyway, the reason we didn't broadcast last week is because it was Thanksgiving. We were exhausted because we did the Ahab Flex Pen release on Monday.
We're packing to go
and
out of town, see my
we
family.
worked like super overtime. Our whole staff worked super overtime, and we got completely caught up as of Wednesday when we stopped.
Yeah.
Everybody that ordered, and I've read on some of the forums and stuff, people were like, oh, I guess the release wasn't as big a deal because they didn't sell out of all the colors. That's actually not true. It's our biggest release yet.
We ordered enough to actually have them in stock longer than a couple hours. We were lucky enough to get a good amount. So it was successful. It definitely was. And the release itself was very smooth. We had no website issues. It was a little sluggish for like 10 minutes, but you're still able, there were no hang-up issues. Everyone was still able to check out. And, we didn't sell out of anything in minutes or anything. The first color sold out in a couple hours, the medieval lapis, which we're hoping to get some more of in the next, 2-3 weeks or so. Yeah. But
so just because the website didn't almost crash and we didn't sell out of pens in a matter of hours.
Doesn't mean it wasn't
it doesn't
mean
there's definitely a lot of those pens out there right now. You can probably see just from all the forums that are lighting up about Ahabs right now
and
that there's a lot of them out there and people are talking about them.
And the feedback has been really, really good. There are some people who are having issues, and I can tell you 90% of the issues can be solved by just flushing out the pen.
Flushing it with dish soap and ammonia, and
we've talked about that before. Because the feeds are machine cut instead of hand cut like previous versions, there are some residual machining oils in the feed, so giving it a good flush, that's going to help most of your flow issues. And then the other, 8%, just tinkering with the feed and the nib, and we have some videos on that. They're some of them will write well out of the box. Some, it's designed as a tinkerer's pen because it's, that's...
Yeah. I mean, it's a flex pen. Any flex pen is going to be... it's going to take a little more getting used to than especially these pens. I think a lot of people get into these pens who've never used fountain pens before. It's really kind of diving in the deep end, getting a flex pen, because if you're going from a ballpoint, which you can write it at any angle and use any pressure and it doesn't matter, going to a flex pen, I mean, you're talking about, the difference between walking and driving a car. It's like really two different
and it's
ball wax.
We always talk about the trifecta of pen, paper, and ink. You may actually need to adjust it based on the ink you're using. If you're using something really lubricated or something dry, you may want to adjust your feed and nib to adjust the flow accordingly, or depending on which paper you're using, or even the angle you hold it at.
Yeah.
So it's it's nice in that you are able to tinker with it. You are able to adjust it to meet your preferences,
and I think,
and take the whole thing apart and disassemble and put back together. And that's why we got a lot of demonstrators. People like seeing how the mechanics work.
It seems like there's the vast majority of people absolutely love them. Some people are frustrated with them and then get them working. Other people are frustrated and give up. The ones that are frustrated and give up usually have some kind of false impression about what these pens really are.
Or don't want the hassle of...
Well, you can go out there and you can see some of the just
tinkering.
Absolutely amazing artwork that people are doing with these pens.
It's really
and even
neat.
I look at it and I'm like, holy crap, I wish I could do that. Just the amazing stuff. But then if you get your pen and you're having some flow issues or having some problems, it can really leave a bad taste in your mouth if it doesn't get working right away.
Every pen needs a lot of tinkering or a lot of work. It's just, some more than others, or some it's just depending on what you're using. For some, they write great out of the box and it's never an issue.
Right.
So, but overall...
So just be aware that may be something that you're in for. I'm actually, because I've gotten so many emails, a lot of them the same kind of stuff. I tried to address as much of that stuff ahead of time as possible, like posting the video on how to clean it and that kind of thing. But I think, now that I've gotten a lot of emails about people that have actually gotten their Ahabs, and I have some more specific issues that I think I could address in a video, I'm going to look to put that together in the next week or so. I'm really behind on videos. I mean, at this point, we got the baby coming. I'm infinitely forever going to be behind on videos. I'm going to do my absolute best to do it, but I just got stuff at home that I got to take care of. So we'll just tell you right here, right now.
Number 1, flush it. And if that doesn't work, number 2, just play around with the nib and the feed. Pull it out, push it in, just play with it.
Yeah. But
flushing it out, it solves most of the problems, especially with flow. Skipping, things like that. So Ahab's, that was all successful. Yeah, we were very tired with Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and then we took 4 days off. So this week we were catching up from, giving our employees time off because they worked so hard for the release. And
family,
coming back.
For us, family comes first. And a lot of people asking, how come you're not doing any Black Friday specials or, things like that. It's like, what? Because family's first, and we didn't want to have to call our employees in or for us to have to worry about working and getting orders out instead of enjoying time with our family.
Yeah, especially because, I guess this year, these, stores were starting
on
Thanksgiving Day,
crazy.
And it's just like the toll that takes, and seeing people getting pepper sprayed in the line for, saving $20 on Xbox games, and it's
greed and all this,
it's just ridiculous.
I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to feed into it. So.
Yeah, we really don't try to drive up anything because of holidays or whatever. We just kind of try to be
because other people do. We're kind of contrarians.
We try to be kind of reliable and steady Eddie. We always try to keep stuff in stock. We always try to be reliable and keep things pretty consistent. And if we go putting sales all over the place and throwing things off, not only does it throw our stock off like crazy, it confuses everybody, and then it makes us almost impossible to run a predictable, steady business.
And we didn't want to delay shipping, if we, So,
Yeah.
Now, as far as Cyber Monday went, we didn't do anything specifically for Cyber Monday, but coincidentally, at the end of the year, I look at, okay, what's selling, what's not, what, we have a bigger space, but still limited. So it's, I try to do a one in, one out type policy. So we're not just hoarding and accumulating. So I did put a bunch of stuff on sale and clearance. Clearance are things that we are discontinuing. A lot of them are discounted below what we're allowed to advertise. So you'll notice there's like a email me for better price thing on our site for some of those items. And that'll email you with a link to purchase it at a lower price. But, and the sales, things we're overstocked on, I'm just trying to clear out. So just, we try to keep our ink fresh. We try to keep things moving and flowing. So that way you're not buying old stock. So things like that. So yeah, Cyber Monday, I kind of did it coincidentally on Sunday night. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, oh, well, I guess that's our big holiday special,
Yeah, we honestly didn't plan it. What usually happens is when we do take a few days off, we have time to think, and we actually start looking at, some of the statistics and the behind the scenes numbers, and we start strategic planning and that kind of thing. We're not caught up in the daily bustle, so we start to think like, okay, what products are moving, what isn't, what could we improve, and that's usually when we're like, okay, well, maybe we should, kind of shift our focus from one way or another.
Yeah, Tatcha is one that we decided to drop. It has no reflection on the quality of the brand, because we actually really like the pens. They just weren't selling as quickly as we would have liked. We've had some trouble getting consistent nibs and things as far as, the right sizes we want or the right colors. And they keep dropping lines and stuff's out of stock and back ordered, and it's been a little frustrating to...
Well, it just hasn't sold.
It just hasn't sold as well as we would have liked. So, it doesn't mean we won't ever consider it, or we'll still be set up if you want a special order or something. But, it's.
Yeah, so we're discontinuing Tatcha for the time being. That's why, it's on sale on our site.
The same with all the Parker pens. They'd, and part of it, Parker, you can just get everywhere, and I think that's a lot of it. Some brands
we don't... on Amazon for crying out loud.
There's some brands that we don't sell well because it's everywhere, and, people can buy it on eBay, Amazon, or, even at Office Max or whatever. But then there's other brands we don't sell well because they're so unknown and so unheard of that their reputation really hasn't been established. No, Schaefer, we love Schaefer pens. We won't be getting rid of Schaefer pens. The Preludes are on sale right now because I had more on hand than I, wanted to have. And some colors haven't been moving as well as others. So I just, put them all on sale just to give you a little extra discount.
Any ideas when you'll get a more Bay State blue?
Yes.
We actually got some coming on
Friday. 3 ounce and finally 4.5 ounce.
Not a ton of it, but we'll have some.
Yep. So we're finally restocking. It's been back ordered from Noodler's for a while. So it'll be here Friday, as well as quite a few other Noodler's colors that we're out of stock on. I'm thinking of like the large Lexington gray, red black will be back, Ottoman azure, a couple colors we've been out of. At 3 ounce X feather, I think we were out of. So yeah, Friday we're getting our shipment in. So that's that. Oh, and Friday we will also be releasing the new diamine inks. There are 5 new colors. They're doing like 5 each quarter for the next year. So this is the second batch of 5. Ancient copper is included, and that one is just going to be... It's cool. Nice. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of, is it like Antietam? Is that what I was thinking
No, Antietam is more of a red.
Maybe I was thinking Sunset.
You said like Antietam at first, and yeah. No, Sunset's more like it. No, Sunset's more... Yeah, it's kind of like Antietam.
I can't remember. Either way, Ancient Copper's nice. Bilberry, I was expecting more of a blue. It actually looks more purple to me.
It looks more... I was thinking like, hey, Bilberry might be like a Parker Penman Sapphire substitute.
No,
it's not.
It's more of a purple.
It's purple. It's like a dark purple. It's more like a Private Reserve Tanzanite
Copper Burst. Purple. Yeah, Ancient Copper's a lot like Copper Burst.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Private Reserve.
Yeah.
And we'll have samples too. I haven't listed on the site yet, but those will be available Friday as well. There was a snag with our sunsets. I don't know if we'll have sunset for sale on Friday, but we'll have the other 4 colors for sure.
Yeah. Is the copper more brown or orange? I would say it's more brown.
I don't know. The swab looks kind of orange to me.
I mean, it's both.
It's one of those in betweens.
It's both. Yeah, it really is. We'll have samples of it, so you can always try a sample.
It would look nice with a collier.
Yeah, that one would look pretty good.
So I ordered tons of, especially the ancient copper and the bilberry. Not as many of the soft mint, the sunset, or the, what was the other color? Bow blue. The lighter colors tend to not do as well as the darker ones.
They're not bad colors.
They didn't have as much buzz, so I didn't. But you
yeah,
know,
we'll
reorder
blue. The bow blue is more like a.
It looks like a blue azure.
Blue azure, yeah. The Jeroboam blue azure looks a lot like that, and then the other one.
And soft mint.
Soft mint looks like Diablo Memph. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And sunset's like a red orange. You know, it's right in there.
Oh yeah, it's bright orange. Yeah, it's pretty bright orange. It's not like Carandash Sunset. The Carandash Sunset's like a red pink.
Yeah, this is like a red orange.
This one is definitely an orange. Yeah.
So we have the swabs up. I haven't put them in the swab shop yet. That's not. Oh, I'm gonna add it to my to-do list. I say it's on my to-do list. I need to add it to my to-do list.
Yeah.
Diamond swab shop. But the bottle with swab pictures are up on the site.
And those are color adjusted and everything, so you can see those.
And okay, what else? You guys are asking about TWSBI. I'm getting a couple 540s and some more ink bottles in next week. It just shipped, I think, today. Limited quantities. They're still waiting on their next big U.S. shipment, so which I think is about 2 weeks out or so. So this will hold us over a little while, but I do anticipate we'll sell out again. It's been a little frustrating. I would love to have more, but the quantities have just been really limited coming in.
Yeah.
And since I know you're all going to ask me, because you ask me every single time, I have definite word as of today or yesterday from TWSBI. The 540 in other colors will not be available in time for Christmas. They're looking at just after the new year, as well as the VAC 700. So that's a new pen coming out from TWSBI. It's just they didn't want to rush it and sacrifice quality, so they decided to postpone for just after the new year. I don't know what the colors of 540 will be. We've heard of a smoke. I've seen pictures of a blue, some other ones. Mm-hmm. So it'll be early 2012, just after January. And again, I don't know exactly what colors, but as soon as we know, we'll let you know. And I asked about the price point as well, and they said they haven't finalized it yet, but as soon as they know, they'll let me know. Once we have a price, I'll put them on our site so you can get on our wait list. But I can't really put it up without a price. So.
Yep, and
because I don't want people waiting for something and then the price changes and then it's, you know.
Well, as soon as we have the information available, just like we always do, we'll put it up on our website. You can sign up for the back in stock list, and then you'll be notified immediately when it comes in. You know, you can check back on that page to get updates as to when it's going to be delivered and, you know, what the price and everything is going to be. I
wouldn't be surprised if it was on eBay or Amazon like a week before we have it, but they did tell me, you know, they're definitely going to save a batch for us. Italic nibs are going to be the same thing. Those are going to probably come in the new year as well. And I actually took them down from our site. A lot of people asked, where did they go? What happened? Because
we were just getting so many emails.
I was just so tired of all the questions, and I didn't have answers for. And I didn't want people. I had people saying, like, can I hold my order for these? Or, you know, and I was like, I really don't know when they're coming.
Well, I mean, initially they had kind of told us it was like September, then October, and then it was like, Christmas. You know what, just don't even set a date because it's just so pushed back so far. So we just took it down.
So my guess is it's going to be along with those just after the new year, as well as, you know, people have asked about all the nibs changing to Bach. The broads have, the rest haven't yet. My guess is it's going to be along the same timelines. Just after the new year. Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted as we know more. That's all I know as of right now.
Yep. Was there anything else that we needed to...
Original Crown Mill, I'm working to keep in stock. Expanding as you guys tell me you like stuff.
Yeah, we really haven't been carrying it that long, so if you have any experience or questions...
Oh, I know. What else?
You know, by all means, ask us about it.
Our next Roar and Klingner shipment is supposed to arrive Friday. So we already sold out of Alt Goldgren
and Salix or Scabiosa. I can't remember which.
One of them we sold out and the other had one bottle left, but it might have been gone already.
Yeah.
So the Iron Gallings, Alt
Goldgren was the first to go.
I couldn't believe it.
I mean, it is a cool color. I think it's like...
It's so different, I guess.
Yeah, and when we swabbed them all up, you know, we were swabbing like every color, and we were like, oh yeah, like, okay, these are some cool colors.
And I was like, okay.
And then we did Alt Goldgren, and at first we were like, ugh, and then we were like
a pea green kind of.
That's actually kind of a cool color. You know, it's like
different than anything else.
Yeah, it's really different and unique, and
so I just got the tracking. Our next shipment is supposed to arrive Friday. So, I mean, that's what it says for now, Friday morning. So, if you wanted one of those colors, they should be back in stock then.
Yeah, and Sartain's asking, is the original crown mill laid textured and is a pure cotton smoother? The classic is laid, so it's like the Gilles Low Verge de France, where it has like the raised lines that kind of go across the paper. The paper itself is smooth, but it has like these kind of speed bumps on it, if you will. The pure cotton is a more even surfaced paper, but it's toothier, so it has a little
glassy,
more.
like
Yeah,
Triomphe.
yeah, it's not as what's the word? Vellum as like the Rhodia and Clairefontaine. It's not as smooth and glossy. So if you like your paper with a little bit of absorbency to it,
It definitely soaks in the ink, and the ink, it looks a little flatter, I guess, on the paper. Like the shading and stuff doesn't come out as prominently. It more absorbs ink. So if you have a problem with like Clairefontaine or Rhodia in dry times, you may like the pure cotton.
Or if you have a finicky pen that tends to skip on really smooth papers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or if you don't like a lot of shading. If you like a more even flat tone to your ink when you write, the cotton does a good job of doing that.
Yeah, we could use it for our invoices, but it would cost so much money.
Yeah, that would not be very economical.
Even what we use now is not the cheapest thing in the world.
It's not the cheapest paper, yeah.
You have to, it's a balance between, you know, economics, you know, finding something affordable. Has to be good for printers, and also has to be good for fountain pens. So we've settled on the HP 28-pound laser premium choice color copy, whatever the stuff, the 28-pound stuff.
Yeah.
Or 32 if it's on sale, but generally it's the 28-pound.
If I can chime in, I use the exact same stuff when I sign my letters to customers, but on invoices I use the cheap paper too.
Oh, that reminds me. Number one, we need to...
we need to get you some new...
no, two things. We need to do up letters for the new LEs.
Oh, yeah.
And number two, our address has changed, and it's still on all the ones we're sending out for the premieres now. So we gotta get you some new ones.
Okay, you know what? I just thought about that.
I'll put it on my to-do list.
Can we ship pens tomorrow without letters, or should we wait on letters? Or do you want to ship it? Do you want to maybe you guys could mail a letter and I'll mail the pen? Well, we need both signatures though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it afterwards.
How about we start? We'll ship you all the letters tomorrow. You'll get them probably Saturday, and you can start shipping the pens Monday.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that was an oversight on our part. Sorry, everybody. What we do with the premieres is we, whenever we sell one, we have a letter kind of explaining the collaboration and everything, and then I sign it. I mail it to Brian, and he signs it. So you've actually got both our signatures, both the Brian G's on your letter when you get your pen. And we'll definitely do that for the LE as well. But I forgot to prepare the letters ahead of time to be ready to ship the pens tomorrow.
You forgot.
So,
really, these letters are more like letters of certification because it will come with, you know, your number pen. If you got number 17 of 100, it'll be labeled on there. So it's more like a certification letter. So those definitely have to go with the pens. Yeah.
But if you, for some reason, need your pen absolutely rushed, you know, let us know and we'll get you the letter separately if it's gonna hold it up.
Yes.
Yeah, paper. Any suggestions for cardstock options with similar properties to Clairefontaine? I like to work with my flex pens on cardstock for Christmas, but the stock I'm finding is too absorbent for line variation and shading.
I said Clairefontaine actually has some cardstock options.
They do. Their cardstock is called Pollen. That's their line.
Well, Pollen is their full line of, I guess, stationery, because they have some vellum. They have some...
Yeah.
It ranges from really thin vellum to cardstock, and we've actually that's what I use
for
all
my
of our
swabs.
So it's 210 gram
Pollen cardstock.
We get like the A4 and we cut them all down.
Yeah,
the same one we do the swabs on. So.
And we used to carry it, especially when I first started doing the swabs, because I would get questions as to what paper we use for the swabs. And it just confused a lot of people.
And there's so much variation. There's so many colors. If you go to Xeclair's website, xeclair.com, and you pull up the catalog, go towards the back. It's called Pollen, and you'll see a giant chart. It's like takes up 1 or 2 pages of like all the different sizing and all the different colors. But you'll look for the 210 gram. That's the cardstock, and I can get you pricing for anything you want.
Yeah, we can special order.
We do special orders all the time. So
yeah.
Same with planners. If you guys are thinking about planners for next year, A lot of people ask us, how come you don't stock planners? It's because there's like
so many
300
options.
or 400 variations, and it's just it would be
easily
impossible.
More between all the different formats in the cover.
20 some different formats times
times like
a dozen
10
and a half
different
covers.
cover styles plus cover colors. It's like insane.
The rodeo ones are the only ones we
combinations.
regularly stock. But if you want a Quo Vadis or Exacompta planner, just let us know and we can get you price quotes. Usually here in a week. So just let us know. Happy to do it. No additional cost or anything. It'd just be whatever the price is.
Yeah.
But because we just it's just not feasible for us to stock them all, especially with the planner. It's dated. If we don't sell it, then it's like crap. What do you do with it?
It literally is a product with an expiration date on it.
Absolutely.
Oh, somebody else was asking earlier. Sorry, we mentioned something about clearing out stock because we didn't want it sitting too long, and somebody was asking
ink.
about
how
ink.
long ink is
how long it's good. Yeah, don't worry about that. It's more just
sometimes there are batch or there are formula changes or things. We just like to stay
even
fresh.
that's not that rare. We as the retailers like to stay fresh because we don't want our ink sitting on our shelves for a long time so that it can be as fresh as possible when it gets to you and you can get the full life of the ink.
Right.
Most
we don't know
inks,
how long they sit at the distributor or the manufacturer before we get it. So we try to keep it fresh, and when we do ink samples, we try to keep those as fresh as possible.
We do FIFO, we do first in, first out.
Yeah, it's not an issue. We store it properly if you use proper humidity, proper, you don't have sunlight on it all the time. Or,
it'll last you years without a problem.
Right, but
don't be too worried about that. But as retailers, we just like to keep things fresh.
Especially because there are batches, and if there are changes, it's easy for us to then track back. Like the whole thing with Omos Blue, which I still don't have an answer on, which is so frustrating. But being able to track, these were from this batch, or if there's like an epidemic with mold or something, then we can easily trace, okay, we got this shipment of 10 in at this time. These are about when it was impacted. So it allows us to help keep track of things like that.
Yeah. So some places say you shouldn't use ink more than a year after you open it. What are your thoughts? That's bull crap. You can use ink as long as you're comfortable using it. Go for it. The year thing is totally arbitrary. There's no expiration dates on ink. If you want to get the longest life out of your ink, then what you can do is decant a little bit from your bottle into like a vial and fill from the vial, and then you're really only opening the bottle every time you need to refill that vial. You do it that way, and you'll be able to use that ink for years and years and years as long as you're storing it properly. So don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the vintage inks, the stuff that's like 30 and 50 years old, keep in mind, chemical regulations were a lot different back then than they are now. The inks that are made now are not the same as what was made 50 years ago. So, you're not exactly comparing apples to apples there. But yeah, people do use old ink all the time. You can go on eBay and check out vintage inks. There's a whole other world of people that get into vintage inks, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and then you talk about like the legendary Parker Penman Sapphire and people hoarding it and...
You'll
finding
pay
old stock or whatever.
Yeah, you'll pay $35 to $50 for an open bottle of Parker Penman Sapphire. It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So, do we have anything else to cover? Because it's getting near 10:30 here, and I'm getting pretty tired.
Do you guys have any questions for us? Anything that you want to know? Any questions or timelines or what's the baby's name? Oh, Iroshizuku Inks. Okay, I'm going to stay on topic first.
Okay.
Iroshizuku Inks, there are 4 new inks. They are exclusive to Japan for the remainder of the year. They're supposed to be available to the U.S. in 2012. I've heard January. I've heard March. I don't know, but I've already put my order in, and as soon as they're available, we're going to get some.
Yeah, it's frustrating because there are retailers that buy stuff direct from Japan, even though they're kind of not supposed to do that. So it's frustrating because other retailers do have it available.
Or you can buy it through eBay. And
and if you want to buy it through them, just freaking buy it. It's one of those things that's frustrating to us because, they've got an advantage over getting it first before we do, and that's fine,
Well,
so,
I just like to support U.S. distributors and,
Well, we go through distributors for a reason, and if you are just really excited about getting the ink, just get it wherever you can. That's fine. I totally understand. But understand that when new products come out, we like really try to get them as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, as soon as it's
we're
on
pretty
FPN, aggressive. I was on Pilot USA. I was like, okay, how come I don't know about these?
We actually informed the Pilot distributor about the new colors. They didn't even know about it until we told them,
because they were
because it was a Japan only, and it got on the forum. We found out about it through the forum, and then asked the distributor for it. That, believe it or not, that happens more often than not. Yeah. Usually, we find out about stuff through forums and from you guys emailing us and asking us questions than we do from our distributor. Just because there's like an official chain of command and the process the way it comes down, but it almost always gets leaked from somewhere, because it's the internet and everybody's got cell phones and can snap pictures of that kind of stuff, so it almost always gets leaked. So you guys probably find out about new products before manufacturers intend for you to. So keep in mind,
the whole mix-free fiasco with the blogger posting.
And it happens with like every new product that comes out, so just keep in mind with that. But we really, really are your advocates. We try to get everything new.
Oh, it kills us when we can't get.
Yeah, it really does.
Ahab, tinted demonstrator Ahabs.
Oh, yeah.
There is a limited stock, very, very, very limited, coming in about 2 weeks. We're going to get what we can, but I know it's going to be limited. And more will follow several weeks later. It might be in time for Christmas. It might not. I don't really know. As well as the black Ahab. It's definitely coming, but I don't know if it'll be here before Christmas or not. So I do have the tinted demonstrators on our site, so you can sign up for the wait list. And it should be about a week and a half to 2 weeks from now. We'll announce the date when it gets closer, but it's going to be really limited, and I'm really sorry. And I wish there were more we could do, but the first batch, they just didn't produce a lot, so...
Well, and keep in mind, previous releases of Noodler's pens were like 5 months, so having to wait a few weeks is really not too bad. But we got a bunch of questions that just piled in here.
What are you talking about? You'd like to get...
Omas Blue, same old story. We have no new information. It's been frustrating. It's been forever.
Yeah,
but we have nothing new.
I just sent them another email this week. I was like, are there any updates? It's been months, But I can't feel comfortable carrying something that I don't know. I don't want to have to open up every single bottle of ink and swab and test it to make sure it's the right color. So until I have a reassurance,
it needs to be reliable, yeah.
And I need to know what happened. Was it a formula change? Was it
well,
bad?
We haven't gotten any answer yet at all. So still waiting. Sorry, but there's lots of other inks out there. Okay, let's see here. So you'd like to get the ancient copper and the purple Ahab, but it looks like they're on different timelines. Could you buy the ink and hold it until the purple comes in and ship them together? We get asked this a lot. We're happy to combine orders when we can, when it's practical. When we have, I'm hesitant because
these are going to be so.
They're going to be so limited.
Especially, he told me the purple is like,
there's like practically no purple coming in. I don't even know if we'll get any.
The other thing too is like, depending on the timelines and this baby, it's like we want to accommodate, we want to do what we can, but like there will be a point in time, and we were starting to allude to this earlier. For us, families first. We have employees who are going to help keep run things, but there will be a limit in how far above and beyond we're able to go. We'll always meet our standard.
Well, above and beyond has like become our standard.
I know, but I'm saying there will be a limit to, exactly, doing that. So like combining different orders and stuff and combining shipping, we'll do what we can, but, I also can't promise you that you'll get a purple Ahab.
If it was any other product, I would say no problem. But because that particular pen is going to be so limited, I would say, we're willing to do that for you, but understand that there's a good chance you won't get a purple pen, and we'll just end up holding your order for you to miss that pen, and then we'll ship it out anyway. So just full disclosure, and understand that is a very realistic possibility. So there you go.
So we'll do what we can. You can always send us an email, and we'll work with you, especially if you're international. And I totally understand wanting to combine shipping, because shipping can add up, shipping internationally. So we'll do what we can, but again, we can't. These pens are so limited. I just can't promise any. I don't even know how many we're getting yet, so I certainly can't promise any without even knowing what we're getting.
Yeah, we don't pre-order any Ahabs either, so
And someone asked if they're going to come with a new O-ring seal, and it said a different nib. I don't know. I think the nib isn't changing. These will not have the newer seal, but again, we'll have the O-rings available if you want to purchase the replacements. We have a video on how to change it out. Some people have had no problem. Some people, it sticks a little bit. You just give it a little twist when you push, and then it's fine working forward. Other people just want to change it from the get-go and be fine with it. But
that's fine.
So this batch will have the old ones. They didn't get them done in time. But, again, you can always purchase it and upgrade it.
Yep.
Is that all the questions we got?
I think so.
No, I'm not holding this baby for New Year's. No way.
Oh,
I'm just about done as is, and I still have a couple weeks to go. So.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you all for all the compliments you've given us here. We had several people complimenting and saying just how much you appreciate what we do, and
that we put
how
family first,
and how we're your number one source and all that. We really, really appreciate that. Honestly,
there's fabulous thread on FPN started in the paper section about our packing method. And I can't tell you, because you all know we have employees, and you can read. We have a whole meet our team section on our site, so you can read about everyone. But it really means a lot to them to see the work that they do being appreciated. Yeah. And even today, just getting an email saying someone's box was half torn open, but because of the way everything was packed, everything was intact, or things could have been more broken or could be worse than they were because of the packing. So it means a lot to us to hear. Sometimes
for our packers,
you only hear the negative feedback. The people who have issues or complain tend to be 10 times louder than the people who are happy. So it means a lot to hear the happy, the satisfied feedback too.
Yeah, well, Ben and Randall do most of our packing. Sam jumps on, and I jump on when with the Ahab release. Yeah, we'll all kind of pack, but Ben and Randall are our main packers.
I haven't packed in a while.
And they're they're kind of behind the scenes most of the time, so they don't see things on the forums or blogs or that stuff most of the time. So whenever you guys shoot us an awesome email that it's really encouraging, or there's a cool thread going on, we'll definitely show that to them and get them all fired up, and and they definitely have learned my style of packing. It's most of the time, if you get a package, you won't know who packed it, because we all have this standard, and we all kind of one up each other too in terms of how well we can pack something. That's very much a point of pride around our shop, obviously, by the fact that people talk about it.
Yeah, and Alex says she's our chief customer correspondence person. She manages the orders inbox, and she's the one who answers the phone most of the time, so she's just been and writes a lot of the notes, and you get a little bit of everyone with every package that goes out, from receiving the order to signing the note to packaging it up, doing the label, everything, that pulling the order, everybody has a hand in it. So it's really cool to hear all the feedback and everything.
And Brian, I'll have too, when you guys send us pens, you send the bubble wrap, but you put the bubbles so that they're on the outside.
That's a real packing faux pas?
No, it's not a packing faux pas. It's just we always do it the opposite. So whenever, sometimes we'll just be joking around. We'll be like, oh, let's do it Edison style here. And we'll put the bubbles on the outside. It's just funny like that. I don't know why we do it.
I've never heard of anyone using our blue shrink wrap, though.
Oh, well, we get stuff
back.
That's
legendary.
We've had people sending stuff back to us, or just send us stuff as a joke, wrapped up in our shrink wrap. One time we had someone that sent us an official pen from the Alamo. Well, it was like a ballpoint, regular cheapy gift store pen. It was just wrapped up in shrink wrap, and they just sent it to us as a total joke.
Or every once in a while, there's an address problem and the package gets returned, so of course we have to open it up and see what's going on. And I'm opening it, I'm man, this is awful. I really feel bad for our customers. But everything's intact.
It's for a reason, though. Exactly. It's for a reason. Because sometimes packages get left out in the rain. Sometimes they get caught in the mail sorting machines and get halfway torn to crap. Sometimes they fall off of mail trucks in the middle of a winter Montana snowstorm, which has happened. And that's why we pack the way we do.
Folks are talking, someone said, you noticed that both me and Alex were using the same ink on the 19th at PR Avocado. Do we have a communal ink file? I probably borrowed her pen. We all kind of share each other's pens.
We do share each other's pens a lot, especially if we're kind of running out and we don't feel like filling up at that moment. We'll be like, hey, can I steal your pen?
I mean, it is great. We have access to, over 400 colors of ink. So it's I feel like writing with the turquoise. What do I, and we'll pull sample vials And there's some that are so popular, so like Noodler's Blue, we have inked in several, or Purple Heart, we have inked in like I think 4 different pens.
Well, so the pens,
and several of them are Lamies with 1.1 nibs. I don't know how that happened, but we have like several.
Well, we all love the 1.1 nibs.
And Purple Heart, so some of them we have full bottles that we use.
Oh, yeah.
I have like a cactus fruit eel that I regularly use. I have a pink Sailor Sapporo that I always have inked up with cactus fruit eel. Just the combination works for me.
And I'll have you know too, Brian, I literally have an entire case filled with Edison pens now. I've got an Aston 10 pen case that I have actually. I think I have 13 pens in there.
I have the Cappuccino Premiere.
It's only a 10 pen case, but technically you can squeeze a few extra in there, and I literally have that thing jam packed full of Edisons.
You have a lock and key on that? I hope you're taking real good care of them.
How many pens are inked in the office? Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Oh boy.
I mean, I have a couple. Brian has a lot.
I have a lot.
Alex has a couple.
Probably
Sam has
50
couple.
plus.
Ben has a couple.
50 plus at any
Drew's
one time.
Couple. Well, I think if you add up all of our employees and say each person even has conservatively.
Oh gosh, Drew's got a bunch. He's got, easily 50, maybe 70.
Oh, he's probably got like
that.
8 or 10 inked up at once.
Oh yeah, we're
always borrowing each other's.
That's why we get where you guys are coming from, is because we
get it too.
We are dealers hooked on our own product. We are so deep into the pool. It's not even we're practically.
Well,
drowning.
like I said, an employee perk we offer for them is you can have as many ink samples as you want. You just have to do up the sample.
Yeah, you
got
to do your own samples.
But if you want to fill it a little extra, you certainly can.
Yeah.
But just a little employee perk.
Yeah, it's fun.
So anyway, so all your positive feedback and everything that you guys have been sharing with us, like the emails you send us, the handwritten letters, which we've all the handwritten letters we've ever gotten.
Oh, I need to do that in the blog.
I know. We've taped in our when you first walk into our space, the wall behind our reception area, we have taped all of the handwritten notes and letters up there. So everything
that we've
you guys
ever
have sent
received.
Us, we feel absolutely awful that we haven't responded to everyone.
Well, but when you look at that wall too, it's like, okay, well, no wonder,
Well, now it's at the point where it's like, gosh, I don't even have the address, the envelope, the return address, or anything like it. And it's been so long that it's just we just simply don't have the time. But I do want to acknowledge them.
And we save them all, and we put them up on our wall, and we look at them, and that's like the first thing you see when you come into our shop.
Admiring the different
handwritings. It's just this wall of letters with awesome paper and pens and ink that people have used and sent us letters, and it's just really cool.
Hey, if you want to work for us, if you live in the area, let us know.
We're actually hiring right now.
We do need another employee.
If you want to, if you want to do ink samples and pack orders, we're looking to hire. So
you just have to live in the area.
Shoot me an email with your resume. If you live in the Richmond area.
Yeah. There's
That's
no
kind
telecommuting
of critical.
options.
There's no telecommuting for the type of position
for this role
we're
at
looking
least.
for, yeah. But,
so no, the only telecommuting position is me.
Rachel will be telecommuting with the new baby for a little bit.
Because I'll have to still do all the accounting and the webpage, but physically packing orders and ink samples, you kind of need to be there for that.
Yeah, kind of. Sorry.
That sort of thing. So, so 3 weeks from now, we're having a baby girl. Do we want to share the name? It's kind of... I haven't even put it on Facebook or anything yet. I just kind of shared it with family and friends, but...
No, we'll keep it secret.
We'll keep it secret. All right, so 3 weeks from now, we're going to have our baby, and this time we have iPhones, so we'll actually have internet in the hospital. Last time,
we can tweet. We've got a lot of people asking us to tweet when the labor starts or whatever.
Well, it's a scheduled C-section, so, 8 in the morning on the 21st, that's what'll be happening. Mm-hmm. We have to be there at 6.
We'll prepare ahead of time. We'll be like, we ain't going to be answering emails for a while. But, when this baby comes.
So we'll this time we'll have, because we have iPhones now, we're finally in the modern age, we'll be able to post pictures and we'll tweet out the name and the weight and all that good stuff that you guys want. Yeah, if she comes early, then obviously we'll just start everything early.
Yeah.
If I go into labor early, then that's when the C-section is. So
yeah. That'll be exciting.
So what I was going to say is, over the next couple weeks, we're going to be bunkering down, preparing for this baby. We keep saying families first, and I have limited energy and limited attention and that sort of thing. We're doing our best to train everyone so they can keep things running smoothly, but you know what? The blogging's going to be light. The
broadcast we'll probably have to cut back.
I will say, don't email me. for stuff. Email orders@gouletpens.com.
In fact, maybe we should just put up an autoresponder on your email.
Oh, I will.
A while.
But I'm just letting you guys know in advance. I'll do my best, but having been through it once before, I know what I'm in for this time, and my attention is just not going to be here. We'll do what we can. We'll keep things in stock. We will, we'll do our best, but the blogging will be light. We're not going to have a lot of new products other than I mentioned the new Twisbees and things like that. No new lines, put it that way. No new product lines.
Yeah.
So.
We had a question. I have to go on a business trip to the area. Can we visit the shop? We offer in-store pickup if you place an order, but we don't offer tours or anything like that. And obviously, as we're talking, we got a baby coming. We are not going to have the time to be able to do tours or anything like that.
Well, we're not a retail shop. It's just a couple offices in like our warehouse, and
we don't have like products out for you to test and that kind of thing. It's really, we've got to run things pretty streamlined to be able to do what we do. So, we offer in-store pickup kind of as an option for local people or people in the area that, want to pick up and save a little bit on shipping. But as far as like stopping by to tour everything and all that, it's something that we aspire to really be able to accommodate in the future. But as for right now, it's really not something we can do.
I just want to set your expectations.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to, obviously I have to recover and get back in the swing of things. But, we'll have right time, the next couple weeks. But, there's always a possibility she'll come early, and that'll be that. Or Brian will be doing right time solo, or maybe we'll do it maybe it'll kind of be like, hey, okay, we're doing it now.
You think I would tired now? Just wait. Just wait until that baby comes and we're not hitting a REM cycle for a month.
I'll fill in for Rachel if you need it.
There you go. We'll just have you on every week, Brian.
All right.
There you go.
We'll be going without Rachel to ground us. We are going to run on tangents so hard.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. We'd end up talking photography. We'd end up Nikon versus Canon wars all the time.
Someone has asked if we've ever considered opening a brick and mortar location. I will tell you, we will never do it.
We have considered it.
We've considered it. The
shot it down
no.
immediately.
We have seen it put people out of business. We know we can't offer the same competitive prices, and our focus is online. I believe. Well, first of all, a couple things. We're not really in a geographic location where.
We're not at all in a geographic location.
If we were in like New York
could
City
support a brick and mortar.
or like a big city, or if we were in a big city where an affluent city where we're in a rural suburban type area. It's not. There's one Paradise Pen, like I think 45 minutes from us, and it's just not a big fountain pen town.
Yeah.
But you know what? I really, really believe the internet is the future of business. Gosh, how many people shop online? I'm not saying don't support your local stores, because definitely do that. We
Well, do it when it makes sense. I don't believe in supporting a outdated business model.
Yeah.
If a local business can't be supported by a fountain pen following, then it's not gonna survive. So what we're doing is we're trying to bring all the benefits of a brick and mortar and use the internet to utilize it. So doing the videos, doing interactive chats like this, that's what we try to put our focus on, is utilizing the new tools and taking all the benefits that you would have in a brick and mortar store and trying to get it out to people in rural areas that couldn't, have a brick and mortar supported in their area. So we're trying to be like the brick and mortar for everybody in the rural areas. And we get told that a lot, actually, that we're kind of like a mom and pop feel, which is what we very much try to have.
We really try. As we grow.
The good parts.
Yeah, we want to be the mom and pop feel, but all the stock levels and inventory and accessibility of the bigger, and fast shipping and things like that.
Yeah.
But, and Inkdrop's out. So.
Yeah,
did it go out today or?
Yeah, it went out today, actually. We
prepared
it ahead of time and ended up getting done.
Sometimes it depends when the mail comes. But we got it done, so we're like, okay, we'll just get it out. Yeah. So Inkdrop is out. Wintry Blues is the theme for December. So look for that. Should be arriving to your mailbox maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe next week. Or in a couple weeks. Depends where you live.
Wintry Blues is the theme.
Yep.
Got some cool colors in this one. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, obviously it's blues. We haven't really done a lot of different blues in a while if you look back the last couple months, so we're excited. We got a good theme for January, got a good theme for February, and we haven't really thought beyond that yet.
Yeah, we're taking things a step at a time these days. But anyway, we're way over on our time.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah, I can feel my eyes like dragging lower and lower.
I know,
here.
I need to take that cord back from you from my battery.
I know, right? But anyway, Brian, thank you so much for coming on here and for sticking through the whole thing this long. Sorry, I know you are kind of an early bird and we've kept you up pretty late here. So
No, that's fine. I really, again, thanks for letting me promote our line and promoting a little bit of my custom line as well. I really appreciate that.
Oh, definitely.
And thanks everybody that tuned in. You guys always have a great crowd at these things.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm amazed that as many of you guys have stuck here to watch us this long as you have.
I didn't realize
thank
how
you,
late it was.
thank you. We just kind of
goodness.
kept on talking. Well, see, we didn't have a broadcast last week, so we really just like put two into one here.
No, we're always over.
We ramble, but that's okay. I mean, it's kind of like the end of the day for us, and we kind of hang out and talk, and that's just kind of how we do. So, but anyway, Brian, thanks a lot. I just love our collaboration. It's just so unique, especially in the fountain pen world, to have such a symbiotic, relationship like this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's fantastic.
And it really benefits everybody. I mean, like, everybody gets better pens. You get business, we get business. We're all in such good communication. Like, I mean, literally, you're on phone right now in Ohio. We're here in Virginia broadcasting live to people literally all over the world, and we're all communicating instantly. If you just stop and think about what that actually is,
about what time
it's
it
mind
is
blowing.
there. It's like it's almost 11 o'clock at night here. Almost 9 o'clock there. 3 o'clock in Australia. That's like, it blows my mind.
The next day, you guys are in the future.
What? Oh, it's that. Oh, that's weird.
It's still November here in Virginia. It's already December over there.
Oh, that's weird.
How weird is that?
That's really weird.
But yeah, I mean, if you
that.
just like literally for free, we are broadcasting live to the world and having Brian join us by phone when he's halfway across the country.
Australians are talking to them from the past. Oh, that's weird.
It's just mind blowing, especially because like I talk to my dad all the time because he was on IT back when they were using punch cards and binary code. So for him to like. Now he's got like an iPad and he's using an iMovie on his iMac and he's in the iWorld, and it's just like blowing his mind because he could hardly conceptualize, what this stuff even was back when he first got into computers. And I'm telling him all the stuff that we're doing, and it's just like, it's really amazing if you just stop and think about it for a second. But anyway.
Tangent.
And yet we're using all this to sell what would consider to be an antiquated hobby.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Rachel jumped in with tangent right there. If you and I were broadcasting alone, we'd already be into like time travel as a topic,
Yeah, we totally would.
Oh man, he's got so many. Oh, don't get him started.
That would probably be a fun broadcast, Brian. Just have you and me just run randomly off on tangents.
You can do that when I'm like
we
passed
would chase
out.
away customers.
Oh gosh. We would have to have a disclaimer like ahead of time saying like this broadcast will be about absolutely nothing relevant.
Don't ask about fountain pens
just
at
come
all.
Just come here and watch and make fart jokes in the chat and we'll just have a blast and laugh.
I was gonna say we would cover like the gambit from science fiction and time travel all the way to fart jokes, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
String theory of
Oh yeah, which by the way, Sam and I came up with the coolest movie idea, sci-fi related movie idea ever, which I'll have to tell you about. So yeah.
Yeah, let me know.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
This is becoming Nerd Night with Brian and Brian.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks everybody. We had a blast. We appreciate it. I hope I can fit all this in one YouTube video.
Oh my gosh.
I might have to break it up into several, but oh well.
Oh man.
So look for the recording of this on YouTube. Worst case, I'll post the Justin link on the blog, and it'll be buggy and everything, but at least it's something. And I will be doing an audio podcast version as well. So there you go. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, you can always email brian@gouletpens.com. Rachel@gouletpens.com for the next couple of weeks, but don't email her. Or Brian at EdisonPen.com.
Our main email for the Goulet Pen Company is orders@gouletpens.com. So if you email that, it'll get routed to the right person.
That's the one that Alex sorts through, and if it's relevant to any specific person, she'll kind of shoot it off in that direction.
Shipping questions, order questions, ink questions, anything you have, you can send to that box, and we'll make sure it gets the right person.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that.
Yep. Okay, that's it. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate
thanks a lot,
it.
everybody, for tuning in. Good night.
Night.
Night.